Welcome back to the Relay. Grateful to be here with you. Tonight we're talking about the Nationals. It was a fun time. It was a time of reflection, a time of challenge. And I'm grateful to have Graham and Vance and John all here with me tonight. And as you can probably see on the table here, we have something to celebrate as we come back from Nationals. So, who wants to kick us off? Nationals reflections.
John does.
I thought Graham did. Nationals was a great time. It was, I think we were there for 3 days. I flew in early morning on the Friday. I think all you guys arrived Thursday afternoon, evening. Anyways, we met up, had a great time, swam some good races. And as a small team, under our coach's guidance, who was not able to join us there, but she was there with us in spirit. And each of us got a note actually from her, which is really nice. So Suzanne wrote us little notes and messages that were personalized in cards. And I think we all brought that to the meet with us and reflected on that before races. And as a team, it got close to the end of the meet, and we thought, we might have a chance at this small team banner. And we were texting back and forth with Suzanne, and she's like, I think you got it. And on the last day, it was down to Kelly in 800 free and Brian's 200 fly. For those who don't swim, some of the hardest events to accomplish in the pool. And it was really cool to see them finish. They both didn't necessarily want to swim those events, but as a team, they rallied and we swam together. It was great. It was a really good experience though outside of the pool also. Just getting away from everyday life and being able to kind of hang out and relax. And it was the culmination of everything we've been training for over the year. So I think a lot of us were really happy with how we swam and how we represented ourselves as a team there. And we had some really good relays, really good individual events, and a really good time all around.
Yep, I have to agree. It was like the end of a great year. I had challenges leading up to it. It was touch and go with me with a bad shoulder, and so I dialed in my training and Suzanne was on top of my injuries and made sure that I was doing the right thing. And I personally swam great, and the team swam great. This was like you said, at the last minute, the last day, we're like, oh my God, we might win this. And it was just cool that we did in the end and got to bring home something that we can, I guess, eventually hang up in the pool. I'm very pleased with my results and the team's results, and got a provincial record, which was another thing that we didn't know until we got back to Vancouver. John looked it up, and our 4x100 mixed relay team, free, beat the BC provincial record. We placed second in nationals and beat the provincial record by 12 seconds. And right, 12 seconds?
Yeah.
And it was held for like 12 or 13 years. So it was just one reward after another. So it's just hard work paid off. It paid off in a big way at nationals. I'm super happy.
I had tons of fun. I liked just being there with all the different people from across the country. Actually, it was nice to see teams from far out east. There
was
the Maritimes. Yeah. There are a couple of them building boats or whatever they do out there.
Mm-hmm.
But individual performances for sure. But I take away just the fun I think we had overall as a team, as individuals. Is less to me about quote unquote performance and more just being in the moment, even having fun with these guys after the meet, between sessions, and finding those scooters and going scootering for about an hour at a time. Just overall.
It was a true away meet. We left BC. We were in Calgary. It was fun. We leaned into that for sure. And it was a fun time.
Well, one of the things that was really profound was how, leading up to the Nationals, how encouraging those notes from Suzanne were.
Yeah.
To have a handwritten note and a personalized message about a reflection in a couple paragraphs was so focusing. One of the things I can share that was interesting was how much my brain wanted to fight me from trying my best. So the advice Suzanne gave me was just go for it. You've got the training. Don't hold back. And one of the things that was funny was I ended up wanting to swim about 4 races, but swimming 8 because there was a couple extra relays and some of the distances were longer. Not long by most standards, but longer. And I remember swimming the 50 back as hard as I could, and it was my personal best. But my brother, who came out to the meet with us, he got a video, and I just remember coming out of the pool just looking really in pain. And with the benefit of hindsight, how the training got you to a place where that pain was actually okay. And the moment that immediate pain wore off, in like the 5 or 10 seconds where I'm trying to catch my breath, and was it 3,200 feet above sea level? That was challenging.
Yeah, I forgot that part.
But that exhilaration of you achieved something that you had planned on, all that timing and training. So it was an interesting high to actually see the focus of all that hard work and effort. So I'd be interested to hear what you feel. Like, how did you feel about the performance in terms of personal takeaways? And here's a question, if I can ask it. How does it spill over into other parts of your life? Because if we're talking about middle aging and nationals, and we're doing middle aging men topics, why did we do this? I mean, it was a lot of work. What was the benefit?
Wow. From a like event side, for me, the most painful event, like 200 free is long, but 100 free is painful. And I know I've gone out my best when I, can barely feel my legs at the end. So like from a performance time, like I don't actually, it's nice to go fast, but I just know that if I put in the effort, that's my high water mark. But then to your other point or question, how do you bring that back into life, your non-swimming life? Effort. Like you know when you've applied yourself. And I think when you've applied yourself sufficiently and when you haven't applied yourself also. So, life is 100 free apparently. But yeah, in my work, I have those 100 free days. I have the 50 breaststroke days too, but those 100 free days, those sort of, and a lot of times they're weeks or months putting it together, but when you achieve a result and you've put enough in, you've done as best you can.
Yeah, I agree 100%. For me, it's the hard work pays off, and I think how it relates back to life. I mean, when I got back from nationals, like I really put in a lot of work, and so I came back a little bit extra charged and applied that to life. And I swam my hardest, I trained my hardest, and now in the months following, hard things were a little less hard. Because I knew that if I put the work in and I had support, which I do, teammates, coworkers, you can get stuff done, and stuff's a little easier. So that was a big takeaway. It was mentally, like you touched on, it was mentally hard for me. Like very intimidated. It was a big event, lots of people all over Canada, like quite a difference in skill and talent. There was Olympians there. There were 99-year-old people swimming. So it was quite unique, quite intimidating, quite humbling, quite awesome. And that I brought that all home with me, right? And I continued on to the summer swimming as well. So yeah, it was good. It was eye-opening. I'm looking forward to the next one and the next challenge. Maybe go to the international meet. Where's that? Japan? No.
Japan was this year.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. In terms of what I feel went well at the meet, like I swam as best I could, and Suzanne's quote for me was, "Whatever it takes is whatever you've got." So what I took away from that in the quote, but also in the meet, was you can only control what you bring to the table. So preparing yourself as best you can and swimming the best you can and showing up is the best that you can do. And there are, so to tie it back into my like work life and family life, sometimes showing up is it. And sometimes you can go above showing up and make it a fantastic day. But even the days that you choose to show up are days that you're performing. And for me, that was important for work and for home life too. I'm there all the time, Monday to Friday at work, and every single day at home. And showing up and being, the best that I can be, or giving it all I've got, is something I've tried to lean into a little bit more, and just make every moment count. Like, we all, come into this earth and enjoy each other's company and have a limited time to share with other people and enjoy. And for me, I'm just leaning into making the most of every moment. Definitely not happening all the time, but I'm trying to lean into that more and make it more of like a fun moment, no matter what it is, like a chore, a task, an event, like whatever that is, trying to make it more fun. So same thing with like the 200 fly or 800 free or the 100 free. It's a grueling race. It's tough. Stick it out, show up, and be awesome. And I found that really impactful for me when I come home. Yeah, after I got over COVID.
Is there something in there with process too? Like, we're talking about results and outcomes. Like, we did the minute-long race, the 2-minute race, the 10-minute race, whatever they is. But it's the practices that we go to. It's the time that you take to go do this thing. The result, of course, is there, but like, we've also applied as best we can in our busy lives, getting to the pool. So I think there's a benefit in that, and not just focusing on that end result.
So here's a reflection and a question. After Nationals, I had to go into a pretty heavy period of work focus back, and I was reflecting on how much I enjoyed the camaraderie, how much I enjoyed the meet. And I have to say, Calgary put on an amazing meet. Like, what a facility, what an organized group, like no drama on anything. I mean, timing went down, they just shoved it to another pool. I mean, there was a system for all scenarios, and I was humbled at just how organized they were and what a professional run meet they had. And I was reflecting in my own life about what would have made it better for me. And I think it was probably not analyzing the races too much. And so I remember on the last day, there was a couple hundreds, and I just was dreading the pain that was coming, the physical pain of actually, like, my legs physically just get so exhausted that they hurt. And I thought, after the whole event, why was I focused on that so much? And I felt a little bit silly. I don't know if anybody had a similar experience, but I would have enjoyed it a little bit more, as much as I enjoyed it, if I had to just discipline myself to not obsess about the wrong things, or maybe focus on the right things a bit more. And I finally got there, but it was at the last race. So one of the last relays we did, I was like, well, that's over. I wish I had have not worried about the earlier 7 races.
Yeah. You just made me think about it. Well, and Graham touched on the 100 free. So I've always been chasing that break a minute again. And I swam, when I swam it individually, it was on the second day. And that night I could hardly sleep. I was going over the race in my head. It was taking a toll on me. And I got in, I swam hard, and I didn't get, I got a best time, but it wasn't the time that, that break a minute time. But then I got the opportunity to swim it 2 more times in relays, because we did the 4x100s, which was new to all of us for being back in Masters. And the second time they let me go first, and that was when we broke the record. And again, I was still psyching myself up about it, and swam it hard, but it was exhausted and it hurt. And then I had to do it a 3rd time, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I could do this anymore. And so I said, I'm not doing it this time. I'm not worrying about that result. Had a great conversation with Garth, David, and the guys on the team. We were swimming it that afternoon. And, Garth was just like, just relax, get out there, relax, swim it easy. And we talked over a strategy, and whatever you got left in the tank in the last 25, just give it your all. So I went in super chilled, and I felt like I wasn't even moving in the water. I was just relaxed about it. No, it was like my second last swim too, so it was coming to a close, and I swam close to my best time, and it was my favorite race. But I didn't make that break the minute, but I just relaxed into it, and I calmed myself down and swam it differently, and pleased with the result. So that was a cool takeaway for me. And then I was super glad that my 9 events were over after I did 50 breaststroke, which was my last one, and I don't know why I signed up for that, but I did it, and I swam that well. So yeah. No, that's cool. I think one of the things for me that I've taken away from master swimming and that meet specifically is the fact that I haven't obsessed about going a certain speed at a certain race. Like, I'm just showing up with the best I can and trying as hard as I can, and that's great. To Grant's point, like, it's not about the time for me right now. Like, I like getting best times and everything, and I have a spreadsheet, and I look at like which event I should be doing and everything. But like, at the end of the day, when I go into the pool, it's way less stressful and anxiety producing for me now than it was in age group swimming, and especially university swimming. Like, there was a time cutoff for a meet you have to make. If you don't make it, you don't get to go. And there's so much anxiety and stress around that. Like, I don't perform well under those situations. I didn't perform well then under those situations. And so what I try and do now is just show up and have fun. Like, going around and scooting with you guys after, the meet was over, in between the breaks, going out for dinner and playing, arcade games or ice cream or like whatever it was. It was just fun to be there and do that. When I was looking back at swimming as an age group swimmer, I would obsess about what I'm eating before the race. And there's merit to that. When you're trying to really achieve something, you're giving it all your best, and you've done all this prep. You don't want to ruin it by doing something. But the anxiety for me around doing all of those things exactly right, eating, at the time it was pasta the night before, getting at least 8 to 9 hours sleep, getting up an hour early, making sure you have rest between heats and finals, stretching for 30 minutes, and then getting in the pool for 15 before your race, and it has to be 5 minutes, like all these things. And when I'm able to let go of those, for me personally, I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's just so much more enjoyable. And I treat practices casually also. Like, I go to as many as I can. I show up, I have fun. We chat at the wall, joke about breaststroke, butterfly backstroke, whatever the stroke we're doing. And, it's just fun to be out there and do stuff. And so for me, at the end of the day, it's enjoyable. It is so much more enjoyable, so much more relaxing. And you guys probably feel the same way too, but when you're in the water, you're like at home. Like, that's where I'm happiest. And so if I can bring into that not lower expectations, but like no expectations, just show up, see what you can do. It was a really fun experience, especially at the meet and in practices since and before. Yeah, I just think about too back in the nationals, like everyone was so chill. Like, I remember swimming age group, like back in the day, it was very intense. The competition, the sense of competition was intense. You didn't talk much, but we would have banter with other teams. I remember there was this team from Quebec. Remember those guys before we were about the race, and they were all pretending who was going to be who and who was going to be. We were just having a big laugh before this 4x100 race. And that was the race that we performed really well in, but we were just so chilled, having this banter back and forth with another team we never met before. So that was, it was just a different vibe than it was back in the day when you're just sitting and marshalling and, some other team, it's just intense.
It's nice to enjoy it though. Like,
totally,
it's supposed to be focused on the time and the age group university thing, where it was like go. Like, you don't take a second when you're in those environments to stop and pause and go, oh, we're having a blast. We're talking to these guys from Quebec or whatever. I think now we have the ability to do that, so it makes it better-ish. I wouldn't say more enjoyable, maybe not even better, but like, just, it's different. It sort of fits where we are right now. At least it does for me.
I think I went back and forth at nationals. Like, I was like super stressed, like I said, about the 100 free, but then other times something happened and made me relaxed. But the takeaway at the end was, I'll be a little bit more chill at the next time we swim, the next meet, the next nationals or whatever it is. Yeah.
I feel like I'm the odd one out because it feels like you guys are all anxious about this stuff, and I'm.
Well, he just said he's pretty chill.
Well, yeah.
Me and Sprague's
Maybe that's I'm in like an anxiety sandwich here. But like, but it takes the doing of it, right? And then next meet you'll learn something more. Next time you go to nationals, you're like, oh, I can approach this a bit different. Like the way you said how it took you till the end of the meet to that last one to relax talking to Garth.
Yeah.
And you had your best swim.
Yeah.
Very likely, knock on wood, you'll break the minute, and you're going to do so by like
not stressing about it.
Not stressing and knowing that you've done enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I look forward to that day.
It's going to be glorious.
It will.
Event.
Yeah.
We will drink.
So here's a takeaway so anxiety in terms of capital anxiety was something I felt for moments in a couple of those races, because I was putting so much pressure on myself to do my best in a healthy way. It was never toxic. But coming out of the nationals, I reflected on how much energy I was putting into the training, which was good, and the work going up to it, but mostly the mental space, the getting ready for that meet was taking up in my head. Mm-hmm. And coming out of it after that couple months out, I was reflecting, what would I do differently in 2023, 2024 season? So here's what I'm doing differently. I'm only going to swim relays with you guys. I'm not going to compete, and I'm training differently for a fitness focus as opposed to a speed focus. So since I've been doing that, since we've been back for the last couple of weeks, I've always enjoyed the pool, but it's been a different tempo. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that it's been maybe it's just the change maybe it's just the variety of the focus, but I'm actually enjoying the training a lot more. So instead of struggling to make like last night in the pool, struggling to make an interval, I made it. I was happy about it, as opposed to, I better make the next one. So it was almost like I've gotten out in front of any sort of anxiety, because I've given myself permission to release any competition stress. I don't know if that makes any sense, particularly to those out there in viewer land, but that's kind of where I landed.
Mm-hmm. When you were crushing it last night too, right? Like you swim fast.
It was kind of so all that work brought me to a place where I'm really enjoying swimming again. And maybe I'll compete again when I hit the next age group. But for now, it's just so much more liberating to be, I'm not worried about this. Maybe it's my approach to competition.
Do you feel healthier?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, and part of it also might be the cumulative effect of the training, because I'm not wheezing every 200. So maybe that's also the buildup. Am I chickening out? I don't know.
No.
Maybe.
No, not at all.
I think you got to be where you're at, kind of thing. Like that's right for you in the moment, and go with it. And maybe it is. Maybe February, March comes around, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna move beyond the relay. Maybe add one individual event in. I don't know.
Only breaststroke.
But you gotta, like, I think it's great that you're able to see that yourself, right? And go, oh, there's parts of this that I'm not liking, or parts or things that are not working for you, and you're adjusting. So I think that in itself is kind of cool.
And you're already seeing the results.
Yeah.
Like that mindset switch, and we're only 2 weeks back in the pool, and you're already feeling better about it. So it works. And like Graham said, who knows? Maybe down the road, you're like, okay, maybe I'll do 200 fly. Good job.
Well, and we should probably explain our joke over breaststroke, because for those of you watching the relay, the only person who's actually got any skill at swimming breaststroke well is John, and then probably you, Vance. You're pretty good, but I can speak for myself. It's my worst stroke. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's water dynamics are not good, and
no offense to the race walkers out there, but it's like
it's like the race walking is swimming.
You're moving your hips and your knees are supposed to bend in a particular way. It's just not natural.
That they don't when you're 40-something years old.
Yeah, so there's some context around that. Yeah. It's also hard to swim fast. I don't know how you do it, but
yeah, no, I swim faster breaststroke than I do backstroke. But then the other side of the coin is, like, you guys both swim backstroke very well.
That's true too.
So you're either swimming backwards or you're swimming breaststroke. Both race walking.
We've got some clips from the meet. It would be cool if we could actually put some of them into this podcast because some of them are pretty nice. The nicest thing I was complimented with at the meet was you said something to me about my backstroke start, and I've just cherished that so well. I think you said I have better flexibility off the blocks than a gymnast or something.
Yeah, you look good.
Because I'm not very flexible. I was like, thanks,
Your
Vance.
starts were great. Your starts were great.
That was a very nice compliment because I've never thought that.
But that was a cool thing about the Nationals too. Like we were all very invested in everybody else's races, watched them all, filmed them all for Suzanne. Like I don't know how much data we used, but it's a good thing there was Wi-Fi. But we were sending videos to Suzanne like almost every race. So yeah, we definitely got tons of footage, and yeah, totally throw some in there as long as we can throw in the most viewed video of the Nationals, which was us scooting under the bridge.
That was a great video. So one of the things that we could reflect on, if you had to pick one thing that you loved about Nationals, one thing that you didn't love about Nationals, is that something we can answer? And I don't want to kick it off because I've been just kind of randomly throwing it out there. So open the floor.
One thing I loved is I used to swim age group in Alberta, and I used to go to that pool, and it was Lindsay Park. So I hadn't been back in decades, but diving in for warm up, this is the day before. Diving in, the pool tasted the same. So
That's what you loved?
that's what I loved. It was really interesting.
Tasted
Dove in, and I was like, oh my goodness, I remember this place. I don't know if it was a taste or the chlorine or something. Maybe it's just my brain playing tricks on me. But something about it was like, I've been here before. And it was just nice to kind of come back. And seriously, it's got to have been 2 decades easy.
Was it as cold back then?
Oh, yeah.
It was a super cold pool.
It's funny you mentioned that. I have the same experience with Victoria's pool, Victoria's long course pool. Yeah, I know exactly what you're describing.
One thing that I really liked about Nationals was it connected me to some old friends back in Newfoundland via Facebook because I was posting that I was going there, and as a result, connected with some of her friends that went and swam there. So it was kind of meeting new people outside of our our little meet circle that we have in here in BC. But yeah, reconnecting with some old friendships. Was great, and the general vibe there was, I really liked it. I felt like I was a part of something big. I was welcomed. I was, like just talking about earlier when I swam as a kid. I mean, I walked away from swimming not in the best circumstances. Like I grew just to hate it. And some of those things, which I won't get into now, was some of the people that I was swimming against. They were just rude and that did not exist in the national masters level. And at the Nationals, like I said, the guys from Quebec were super friendly, reconnecting with the friends from Newfoundland, just meeting. It was amazing. So that was my love. I love to think about what my not so fond memory was. I don't know if I got one.
For me, I'll start with the lows. The not so great part was I got COVID on the way back and then was sick for a week after getting back. So that wasn't great. And I kind of feel like a combination of, traveling plus exerting yourself for 3 days and just being really tired. And so your body's kind of like weak. So, technicality, that's the weakest point for me. One of the highlights for me was actually having Suzanne, our coach, connect with us so much throughout the meet and be so involved. And you could feel her presence there through her text messages and her description of her watching videos and just cheering us on. Like, that was really cool. And I just think that encompasses all of what we had done over the year, how supportive we were of each other in practice and in meets. And it was unfortunate she wasn't able to attend in person, but it was just like she was there with her messages and with her, constant chatter on the group chat. So, Suzanne, if you're watching, that was awesome. Thank you for that, and huge highlight for me at the meet. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure she had individual chats with all of us. Even after our races, she's like, "Oh my God, it was a great race," blah blah blah, and so that was just checking in on us was amazing. By the way, did you guys open your card before you went there or when you were there?
When I was there.
When I got there.
Me too, yeah. That's when I did too.
Before.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe I didn't get the memo.
I just read the note. The quote was on the quote was on the envelope itself. Mine was start unknown, finish unforgettable.
I don't know. I just got a, envelope full of glitter. Just kidding.
One of those gag snakes.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Shoots out of your face. Yeah.
Well, at our age, middle aging, there's a lot of people in my other non-swimming circles that are struggling with all sorts of different challenges. And what was a real high takeaway for me was the fact that if you focus on doing something deliberately, you can really benefit from the results of that. And so the camaraderie, the fitness, guys, to swim almost as fast as I did when I was in age group, over 30 years later, that was the win. But more importantly, coming out of nationals, the byproduct, the echo of that is I'm now looking forward to being physically active in a responsible way. And so that's investing in my kids, that's investing in, my health. And to do that in an environment where, like last season, we don't really know each other that well, but the bonding over something that, we have all these different lives, we come from different walks. The one thing we have in common is this sport. And yet we were able to encourage each other and build each other up and do some really positive things. So that was really cool. Downside, altitude. I did not like 3,200 feet.
I agree with that too. Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Next time we go at altitude, I think we need a week of there was a race where I got out. And remember that practice where we were doing some fast stuff and I had to get out for a bit to catch my breath? And I think Suzanne was looking around for an AED. Maybe, I don't know. But I felt like that after the race, and they're like, get out of the pool, because they ran such an efficient meet. I was like, I just need a minute.
I guess episode 1, season 2 is in the can, and we're on to similar but different topics coming up. Thank you for listening, watching, reading the transcript, I guess. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Guys.
Thank you.
Hey, cheers.
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 Thanks for watching the relay. When we started this, we had no idea how successful this would be, and we've been getting lots of requests for more. So thanks for tuning in. If you want to get some information about what we're up to, or you'd like to purchase some swag, don't hesitate to click that link below. We've got some more stuff coming, and if there's things you'd like to see, we'd always be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much.